There is a lot of discussion about the rhetoric and the posturing of the two political sides in this country right now. Conservatives are accurately pointing out, hey, you guys are using some pretty dang heated rhetoric, and well, I don't know, maybe we've seen a couple instances where that has led to disaster, so hey, maybe stop it. Now, the response from libs is, well, conservatives are not being nice on the internet either, so why would we tamp down the rhetoric? The point that I'd like to bring up is that that is not the same. We are not the same when it comes to things that the other side doesn't want us to say. And there's a good example of that going around the internet right now. I'm going to bring up that example, but I would like to challenge you, as well as myself, to not laugh at the photo that you're about to see on the screen. All right. I almost made it. As you can see, this is Senor Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero and a mustache. Now, the president of the United States tweeted this out, or truthed it out, and it came with a video. Now, the libs are, well, we'll get to what the libs are saying. Let me just play this video. It's very, very funny. You guys are going to find it very funny. I want to play it, but then I want to get to the main crux of the idea that, both sides are being bad with the rhetoric. Yeah, kinda. Watch this and we'll discuss.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bull. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of you know, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
So the president of the United States posted that video. Now, we'll just say this, and we said this at the first segment. If I were the president of the United States, I'm not entirely sure I would post that. Again, I think it's hilarious, and I think it's very, very funny, and I'm glad that I watched it, but I don't know, maybe leaving it up to some of the more comedic folks on the internet might be the best idea. I'm not even saying that it is. I'm just, maybe. But here's the thing. Libs take this sort of thing that is clearly a joke. I mean, obviously it's his AI. He added a sombrero, and Senator Schumer is saying things that he didn't say, but obviously we're couching what libs do actually say in a satirical meme type fashion. Obviously, this is all made up. Obviously, this is a joke, and we all know that it's a joke. The libs are, though, saying, well, look at how bad the rhetoric is on the conservative side of the aisle. The president of the United States is doing this thing, and that's terrible. Okay, fine. Whether or not you think President Trump should be posting this sort of stuff, this is not the same as when they call us fascists and Nazis. Because if you extrapolate those terms into what you should do if somebody actually is a fascist or Nazi, the outcome is entirely different. We look at this sort of thing and go, yeah, let's put this into the context in voting and maybe not elect these two people that we fervently disagree with, and they don't think very differently than this mocking AI meme says. On the other side, if you call somebody a Nazi or a fascist, as libs continue to do despite the terrible tragedies that they have inflicted on conservatives in the past couple weeks, well, guess what? More of that is going to happen. I don't want it to happen. Nobody is condoning it. Nobody wants the political violence to get any worse, but there is a difference between making fun of somebody in maybe a way that is not necessarily the best way, but it's different if you're going to use the terminology that the libs have been using to denigrate the other side. There is a difference between making fun of somebody and calling somebody something that has actual meaning, words like fascist and Nazi. Now, to get back to a little bit of the humor of it, Senor Hakeem did issue a statement, but he also went to the Capitol steps to give a speech on how he felt about this objectively hilarious meme. Watch this, and also the internet user who put this together was kind enough to put the video underneath what Senor Hakeem was saying. Check this out.
And Mr. President, the next time you have something to say about me, don't cop out through a racist and fake AI video. When I'm back in the Oval Office, say it to my face. Say it to my face.
And the best part about that is I guarantee President Trump will. When Hakeem Jeffries is back in the Oval Office, he'll probably go, how funny was that meme, dude? and if the cameras are in there, Hakeem Jeffries will probably be like, I completely disavow your objectively hilarious Senor Hakeem Jeffries meme. But we all know President Trump has no problem saying things to people's face. He just also annotates it with hilarious memes, which, you know, who can blame him? It's hilarious. But to reiterate the point here, there is a difference. And I don't know if this is the best metaphor to use, but imagine, I don't know, you're at a dinner party with your wife. And I guess I'm specifically talking to husbands, but I feel like wives can also relate to this. Your wife says something about you and says, you know, he's such a goofball. Okay, goofball. Fine, playful, lighthearted term. But you don't really like that. Well, yeah, he's a goofball. That's not, I don't want to be called a goofball. And then you call your wife fat. Both are insults. Both are probably not appropriate to be made. But one is clearly going to be worse and have bigger and more impactful ramifications. I don't know if that's the best metaphor to use, but that's the thing that's what I'm thinking about in my head. Yeah, there is a difference in insults. There is a difference in speech. There is a difference in rhetoric. And yeah, sure, we're going to keep making fun of people, but that is different than calling them fascists and Nazis. There is a difference between calling your wife a goofball or she calling you a goofball and calling your wife fat. One of them, it's probably fine. Maybe you shouldn't say it. The other one is a nuclear bomb in your relationship, and that's where the problem lies. Let's make sure we stick to poking fun at people, but when you call people things that actually have meanings, that's where problems start to happen. And I realize we're kind of running out of time here, but I do want to make sure we get to this. Speaking of people calling each other names, Ariana Grande, the singer from Wicked, who, by the way, I think is actually very talented. That has nothing to do with her political leanings because those are obviously insane. I think she's actually a very talented singer. Whenever she goes on SNL, they do this thing where she like mimics the voices of other popular singers, and she's very, very good at it. She's very, very talented in that realm. Not entirely sure she's super talented in the art of political discourse. She posted to her Instagram story the other day, and this is relatively long, so I'll just kind of characterize the majority of it. I want to check in with the Trump voters. I have one very genuine question. And she goes on to list a bunch of different things, but basically, she says, has your life improved? Has it really? The response that she was expecting from a bunch of us is to introspectively take a look and go, you know what? No. It's actually been way worse. The problem that she's going to have is it actually has. My life has actually gotten substantially better. And I would say genuinely that the only reason that things have possibly gotten worse is the libs' response to things. When ICE is going around Los Angeles and getting criminal illegals out of the country, yes, that made my life better. I want to see that happen. I feel safer in my community if criminal illegals aren't around. I think the job market is better. We're doing better economically if those criminal illegals are out of the country. The only thing that actually may have made it worse is the lib response. I don't want to see cars burning in the streets. Oh, people just getting together to watch the cars burn. A throwback if you've been watching the show, and we talked about that when it happened. The only thing that's made anything worse is the response that libs have had to things that are in a positive direction coming from the administration. So yeah, Ariana, the only thing that has actually made anything worse is the horrible response from the libs, obviously spanning from riots in the streets to the horrible assassination of my friend. The only things that have made things worse is the way that libs react to making the country objectively better. Now, the White House, of course, not to be outdone, responded. They did. The communications people at the White House, and I know a couple of them, are so good at what they do. Save your tears, Ariana, the White House said, which is a reference to a very popular song from The Weeknd. Because President Trump's action just ended Biden's inflation crisis, bringing in trillions in new investments. He even signed an executive order like magic that paved the way to the FTC to crack down on Ticketmaster, ripping off Ariana Grande ticketgoers. Get well soon, Ariana. The White House is so good at responding to these sorts of things. And I think it in part, actually, in large part, comes from President Trump being very, very well versed in the media scope. Remember, this guy climbed to the top, the pinnacle of New York real estate, which is the toughest real estate market. Then he decided, hey, I'm going to go become the #1 show on network TV, which is also an incredibly difficult thing. Then he said, I'm going to run for president of the United States. I'm also married to a supermodel. The guy's clearly talented in everything that he does, but I think his media background gives him great insight into how to handle this sort of stuff.